Model railroading has an important impact on my life, especially my 4x8 table. I remember when I first built it and putting the first pieces of track down and running trains. It's when I built my first kit and when I got my first grass mat. I remember having so much fun running trains around and recording them. I would make some short films, as I used to call them, whenever I took out my trains. And when I got my first DCC and sound locomotive, I remember running that for days, and I just remember having so much fun. Now my layout's almost complete, with only a few things left to have on my layout. I think it's time I show you some of the progress on my layout. So today, I'm going to be showing you how I built a tunnel on my 4x8 layout. So, I've got these two pieces of foam that I've pre-cut for my tunnel. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to add an access door on this one, so that if any trains derail, I can pick them up. So, here's the time lapse. The tunnel access door. It's not the best, but I think it'll work. It's pretty clean. And this extra foam, it can be used to create hills and mountains and stuff. But I'm just gonna put that with the rest of the spare foam. And now, I'm going to glue this down onto my layout. So, let's get to the layout. Alright, so here is my layout. We have the access door, and we have the other panel piece. What I'm using to glue these down is this. It's an adhesive, it's all purpose, and so I'm just gonna move my tunnel portals here, use them as markings. Now I just gotta make sure it all fits. All I'm gonna do here, so I'm just gonna take it, I'm just gonna plop it here at the corner. Now we gotta get this part. And now that I got it all marked out, I'm just gonna grab a pencil and we can glue it. Alright, now we got everything glued down, and it all connects really well, and I think that it's a pretty good job. And now that we have our access door where I can pick up the trains and stuff, now we're gonna work on the front area and the rest of the frame. Alright, welcome back. I just came back, and as you notice, I have all these things here. I've glued down this part, which is going to act like the tunnel wall. It'll block from seeing the track. But I did make it a bit short, so I will be gluing this part down. I'll also be gluing down these pillars. This one's gonna go at the sidewall here. And if you don't see it, I have these two, which I'm going to be placing right here. Alright, so now that I got that done, let's go back to another time lapse, and then you'll see how I've done so far. Longer, and it's the next day, and as you can notice, the tunnel's different. The roof piece has been cut out, and it kind of reminds me of the emblem that holds the Superman S, and it'll just fit on the roof. And if you don't notice, I painted the tunnel portals. They're painted in a dark gray acrylic paint, and then I coated them on top with brown paint, which was watered down to have more of a weathering effect. So now, I'm just gonna go glue this down and make sure that it's properly on here, because now I'm gonna glue the tunnel portals. So let's cut to a time lapse and do that right now. Alright, so all the glue is dried now, and the next step is I'm gonna take some newspaper, and I got flyers here. I'm gonna rip them up, and I'm going to place them here and tape them down to form the rocks and to give it more of a 3D look, as right now the top here is kind of flat, so it'll add more hills and more depth to our tunnel. So let's get on to that. Now the next step is to add some plaster cloth, and I got a roll of plaster cloth here, and all we're gonna do is I'm going to cut it up into strips. I'm gonna line it up all onto all the newspaper I added here. Although the newspaper kind of looks like a bunch of trash on top of a sheet of foam, once I add the plaster cloth, it's gonna look a lot more different, and it's gonna look a lot more better. Alright, I've cleared off my table, and now I'm gonna show you how to use your plaster cloth. So I have this is your water, and you have your plaster cloth. And all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut a bit here. What I like to do is I like to cut it into I like to cut it like this, and then I cut it into half to make it into 2 strips. Right. Now that's done. You want to take your water and watch this. You want to dump it, but not for too long. Make sure everything's wet, and now that it's wet, stretch it out. Watch this. So we're going to take it. What we're going to do is we're just going to put it on top. Just like that. I'm going to just use it to fill in all the gaps. And now that that's done, let's work on the rest of the mountain, and so we can get done with this and I can show you the next steps after that. Now that we're finished with all the plaster cloth, the next step is to paint it, and the tunnel will be mainly done. So once we get to that, we'll conclude the video. finished painting the first layer. I am going to paint some more layers, but I think now that it's drying, I'd like to conclude the video. In the next video, I'll be adding the grass and doing all the final touches to the tunnel and small nitpicks. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.